From a small Borscht Belt resort in the Catskills, it's the IGN Digigods. Please welcome Mr. and Mrs. Saturday Night, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
So you can get ready.
Mark, what are you showing me?
The time. It's 10:03.
Oh, the time. I thought you were showing that photo.
This is my mommy and daddy's wedding photo.
That's nice.
1962.
Wow.
So anyway, it's 10:03.
Yes.
Do you want to be? When do you want to be? You can go into that room, close the door.
Okay.
And
I got to do a radio thing right at the end of the show. So we're gonna have to break the show early if they call me in. So yeah, all right, I'll do that.
Wait, we started?
We're starting. We started the show.
You didn't tell me that.
You said start recording the show.
I guess I did.
Yeah, so yes, we're on the record now.
I said the words mommy and daddy on the show.
Yes, you did.
Oh.
It's cute. That's very sweet.
That was my mommy and daddy's wedding picture from 1963. That's my iPhone thing, Madougal.
That's right. So I got my phone here, and if you know, we're going to break the show early. It's going to be a short show this week.
But wait, but you have to have ice cream.
Hit me, ice cream me.
Here's what I have this week. You ready?
Yes.
Tiramisu ice cream. I teased it last week.
Do it.
So I'm going to get you the tiramisu ice cream.
Do it.
And you talk about whatever crap.
I'll talk about some anime, actually. A lot of cool stuff from Viz, the wonderful people at Viz Anime, who distributes through Warner Brothers. I tend to really the Viz stuff is a little bit different from the Funimation stuff, which is different from the other stuff. You know, they all kind of have their thing that they go after. Lagrange, the flower of I'm not even going to. It just I don't even know what the point of some of these titles are, but the flower of Rin Ni. This is actually, I'm not that familiar with this, but it's kind of cool. I always enjoy anime with big-eyed, cute women in skimpy outfits doing sci-fi stuff.
That's every anime. Here,
it kind of is.
Try this is tiramisu ice cream.
So anyway, this is here we have season 2 of Lagrange right here, episodes 1 through 12. I found it thoroughly and entirely entertaining, even though I wasn't sure what was going on. Wow, you got a whole
tiramisu ice cream.
My gosh, what are you trying to do to me?
I'm trying to make you fat.
Oh, very nice.
Don't just eat the chocolate part. Eat the regular part too.
I'm eating it.
Because do you know? Here's the key to that ice cream. Mm-hmm. Now, most ice cream obviously made it from milk and cream and whatever, half and half, sometimes whatever. The main dairy product in this ice cream, mascarpone cheese. So it's mascarpone cheese, 2 cups of it. And then some milk or something. I forgot the exact recipe. It's very, very simple, but also has alcohol in it, like a few teaspoons of whatever rum, I think.
Very nice.
So you like it, right?
It's good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So the movie that Paul Walker's last film technically is a little thing called Hours, and I have to say that Paul Walker's career always. Now, do you want the rest of that or not?
No, I'm going to work on it.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Paul Walker's career, to me, I always felt he made just bad choices. I wish he had done more with his career than doing Fast and Furious and movies like Ours. But there you have it. It's just not that great. It's he plays this guy who he's in New Orleans. He's with his pregnant wife who's gone into labor, and then the Hurricane Katrina hits. So I think that if anything else, although this film isn't that great, it's at least showed Walker getting on the right track. Enough with the crappy movies. Although some of the Fast and Furious films were fun, but I'm just saying, go do a real movie.
Yeah.
And so I think that he was maybe starting to put it together, God forbid, but unfortunately he was tragically killed. So Hours, if you're a big Paul Walker fan, I would go for that because it's pretty much his last film. I mean, the new Fast and Furious film will be released.
Yes.
With him in it.
For sure.
But in terms of films that he completed, Hours is the last.
And I'm really surprised that Hours did not get a bigger push. I thought that could have been kind of maybe a dark horse in some Academy Award categories at the end of the year. Yeah, wow. I thought there were some things that it might have been able to make a push for, but who knows. And then back to the anime thing real quickly. Accel World Set 1, which again, more, big-eyed women and cool sci-fi and weird little sidekicks and all the usual things. This takes place in the year 2046. And the whole cyber technology, cyberpunk aspect of this makes absolutely no sense to me. The Japanese invent technology for their movies that they never bother to explain. I just kind of went with it. The artwork is amazing. This is one of the most interesting design-wise animes I've ever seen. A bunch of new Naruto Shippuden titles. One is Naruto Shippuden the movie, Blood Prison, and the other one is Naruto Shippuden Set 17, which is episodes 206 to 218 of the series. I can't possibly get into all the details of the Naruto Shippuden saga. It's just endless, and it's got so many nuances, and it's all over the place. But the people who are into this, man, I'm confused because I only watch it once in a blue moon, but the people who are into it, they dedicate like their lives to it. I mean, it is endless amounts and hours and hours and hours of stuff. Bleach is another one of those sagas, and we got a couple new Bleach releases as well. Episodes 256 to 267 and episodes 268 to 279. These are sets 18 and 19, respectively. And also great artwork here. Bleach has always been one of the more aggressively stylized anime series, and is no different here. So those are two nice new releases. And then one of my favorites, this is Blu-ray Set 1, 2-disc set of Nura, Rise of the Yokai Clan. And this is just great samurai stuff. You know, I love samurai movies, and I love samurai anime. And I probably like samurai anime more than all the kind of sci-fi, post-apocalyptic, atomic age-inspired stuff. Really awesome stuff. Super cool. So, Nura, Rise of the Yokai Clan has, of course, been on DVD before, but this is, Viz has now released the first 13 episodes on Blu-ray, and they look awesome. Absolutely awesome. And this also comes with a really cool 30-day access pass to Neon Alley, which is this new anime channel. So they're doing a little cross promotion there, and it's all good. A lot of cool artwork in the special features section as well.
Oh wait, what do we got? We got the Blu-ray of Last Days on Mars.
Oh my goodness!
Science fiction film that I kind of had a little bit of a.
This was disappointing.
Yes, I was really curious about it, but it winds up being just Liv Schreiber is a guy with his crew on Mars. They're about to return to Earth, and people can start turning into zombies.
We've seen it before.
Zombies.
We've seen it so many times.
It's now
before.
Zombies on Mars, which is pretty much. It's like if I were to tell you that this movie's about zombies on Mars, you would think it's like a Roger Corman film.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is very serious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Zombies on Mars.
Yep.
Last Days on Mars, quite disappointing. Speaking of disappointing, we have Old Boy, which is the remake of the classic Hong Kong film. And I have to say, this thing is just a misfire all the way around.
Man, that film made me so mad.
I think it made James
so upset.
You know, this film also made James Brolin mad. I mean, Josh Brolin mad. He was not a fan of this movie. But it's Josh Brolin, Elizabeth Olsen, and Charlton Copley, and
everything that worked in the Korean film, they changed. They doubled.
Did I say Hong Kong when I said Old Boy? Why did I say that?
I don't know.
I don't know why I said that.
It's great, but the original is great. But this is just a misfire.
Yeah, Spike Lee, who you know what you were really hoping that Spike would somehow pull out the stops, man, and don't just put the guy on the little dolly and roll him along.
Oh,
he always does that shot with like the floating shot. Stop that.
Sick of that. I'm so sick of that. I don't know why he keeps pulling that out.
Just so depressing.
That's why I like movies like Get on the Bus, right? Because Get on the Bus. He didn't have enough money to rent the dolly to put people on it. It's just you just shoot the story. Don't do any of that weird crap that you do. Ugh, so annoying.
Anyway, a movie called Cold Comes the Night, which is just one of those super dramatic titles that already annoys me. Like, if you're calling your movie Cold Comes the Night, you'd better be a comedy. And yet you're not.
No.
It's almost like, remember that book, Naked Came the Manatee?
No.
You don't remember Naked Came the Manatee?
No, not familiar with it.
Naked Came the Manatee was a very famous book because it was somebody wrote a columnist wrote the first chapter, and then it was passed off to columnist after writer after writer after columnist, and they would each write successive chapters, and the next writer was obligated to continue the story as it was left to him, and the result is hilarious. Because obviously, once you hand a story like that, a premise like that, to a comedy writer,
yes,
it winds up going to these outrageous places. And the result was called Naked Came the Manatee, and it's a classic. Look it up, Wikipedia it. Naked Came the Manatee.
Wow.
From this, we have Cold Comes the Night with Appleseed and Bryan Cranston, who I guess is after all those years on that sitcom, the guy is just badass now. He's badass all the time. He's badass here. He's throwing a gun around. Anyway, this thing's pretty stupid. There you go. Forget it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, is anyone going to really?
No, not really.
Anyway, there's there's a nice try boy meets girl comedy called Detroit Unleaded. It of course takes place in Detroit, and this there's this immigrant gas station, and it's run by a cousin, and he's this kind of hustler, and he wants to blow up the gas business so that it becomes like kind of a gas mogul. And he meets this uptown girl, and that's right. They have this romantic comedy relationship.
Fantastic.
There's this one guy, Steven Soderbergh, who's pretty funny as her brother, who's kind of like very overprotective. He's kind of funny, but otherwise, this thing is just very low budge and not that funny. A little bit charming. I like the fact that there's ethnic characters in it. I think there's not a lot of ethnic romantic comedies out there for people to enjoy here stateside, but still, Detroit Unleaded is not that great.
All right. I'm going to blow out a few last animes, and then I am going to blow Mark's mind, ladies and gentlemen. People have no idea. I'm going to blow Mark's mind.
Why?
I'm just going to blow your mind.
Do you have a gift
I'm going
for
to blow
me?
your mind.
Is
No,
this something
I'm
I
not. I'm going to make you really upset because I'm taking it home. Appleseed, 13, Tartaros, and Ouranos. Again, this is just more incredibly high-tech, heavily CGI'd, just blow your mind out with video game looking stuff anime. This is from Funimation. The whole Appleseed thing is just really pretty intense, and it's strictly for that gamer mentality. This is a Blu-ray DVD combo set. And then we have new sets for One Piece and Fairy Tail. That's Fairy Tail Tail. These just will not stop. This is Season 5, Voyage 5 of the pirate-themed One Piece, which is just really funky and extreme animation, episodes 313 to 324. And for Fairy Tail, this is Set 8, a Blu-ray and DVD combo pack. It is, the whole Fairy Tail world. It's this parallel kind of humanimal world. It's very bizarre. And that brings me to something that's a little bit similar, which is a little more manageable because it's a single, short, quick series, which is Kami-sama Kiss, the complete series. And
Chameleon?
Kami-sama Kiss. Gotta love those. There's kind of this faction of anime where they want to make women sort of like pussycats. They have little ears and tails and things like that. This is kind of part of that world, and it's a little bit naughty, and the whole kind of high school girl thing. I kind of got with the genre fusion, and then this thing called Robotics: Notes, and this is interesting. I was completely unaware of this, and anime fans really seem to love this. I trolled a few little sites online that's got a lot of fans. I'd never heard of it because I just don't follow anime closely enough. But it is one of the more interesting giant robot variations that I have seen. Anime sort of follows a lot of patterns, and when you get into the whole robotics thing and kids and robots and Johnny Sacco and all that stuff, it really it kind of gets into a groove. This is interesting. This goes in a different direction. So give that one a look, and it's suitable for kids too. Mark, Criterion, King of the Hill, it's there.
Wait, tell the story one more time. This is the last time you'll ever be able to tell this story.
So we're at the screening of what the hell was that horrible black and white movie with Kate Blanchett and George Clooney?
It was a Soderbergh film. It was the European, the American,
whatever it was.
The Ugly American.
Yeah.
Something.
Anyway, so Soderbergh is there saying, I'll eventually get around to putting Kafka and King of the Hill out. I got to do this and that and the other thing, and of course it never happened. That was years ago. Bloody hell, finally, King of the Hill is out. Kafka, the whole recut of Kafka that he's been talking about doing, that's still in the works.
Which I like that film. He doesn't like that film, and I like that film.
I love Kafka. I think Kafka's an awesome movie, but who knows why he doesn't like it. I don't know.
Now, King of the Hill, by the way, is on Netflix, and I rewatched it about 6 months ago.
So good.
Yeah, it holds up.
So good. I saw this at Cannes. This was at Cannes in 1993 in competition. Didn't get an enormous amount of traction because 93 was, of course, the legendary year of the piano and Farewell My Concubine and Schindler's List wound up winning the Oscar, and then you also had Remains of the Day in the Oscar pool. I mean, it was like, in terms of the movies that were released in '93, that's one of the great movie years of all time. It's right up there with '39. It's just an amazing year '93 was, and so unfortunately, Soderbergh's King of the Hill, which is a great movie, like a top 5 movie in any other year, wound up kind of getting shuffled down in the deck, and it's too bad because it is just such a good movie. This is the movie, of course, that introduced everybody to Jesse Bradford, and it's the story of a kid and a family. It's not obviously the animated TV show. This is a kid and a family during the Great Depression, and just how he manages to get through every single day, along with his younger brother. And it is just so. It's so real. It's so honest. It's so beautifully shot. It's so just the art direction, the music, everything is it's pitch perfect. And I gotta say, this may be the best score that Cliff Martinez has ever written for a Steven Soderbergh movie. I think so.
I like Cliff. You know what? He did a good score for Traffic.
He did.
Because he doesn't do a lot of high profile wise, he doesn't do a lot of non-Soderbergh
movies. No,
scores, movies. But Drive was good.
Anyway, this is a brand new 2K digital transfer. Popped down to Blu-ray and DVD. This is a dual format edition, as all the new Criterions are. Fantastic sound mix. The DTS lossless, just beautiful on the Blu-ray. And you also get new interviews with Soderbergh and with A.E. Hotchner, who wrote the book and who I remember very well being on the panel at Cannes in '93. What a smart, erudite, kind of insightful old guy he was. It's just beautiful. There's also a visual essay called Against Tyranny, which is all about Soderbergh's filmmaking techniques. You know what you also get on this, Mark? The Underneath.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep, The Underneath is on here. Thank goodness. And it's weird because it's like, a lot of people are going to be looking for The Underneath all by itself and not as necessarily an extra, because it's a remake of an old noir, which Soderbergh totally made his own, and I think The Underneath is just an amazing film. So that alone is this is a double feature, basically. And a lot of other wonderful stuff. So this is just superb. You got to get this for sure. It is outstanding in every conceivable way. Just awesome. And then also from Criterion, which I was really looking forward to, is Tess, the Roman Polanski film from 1979 that basically took the Thomas Hardy novel and reinvented it with Nastassja Kinski in this star-making performance. And it's just fantastic. This is a beautiful film. I'm not usually a fan of Thomas Hardy, but this is maybe the best version of Tess of the D'Urbervilles ever put on film, television or film. And the cinematography by Jeffrey Unsworth and Ghislaine Cloquet is to die for. And, of course, Jeffrey Unsworth is the cinematographer who did Superman in 2001. And, man, is this good. This is just straight up brilliant. So definitely check this out. A lot of outstanding extras here as well. Featurette stuff from the premiere and interviews and on, the usual stuff. The one that I really thought was great on here, there's this little mini documentary that was done, mostly location footage for French television while the film was being made, and it's really good stuff. French television behind the scenes documentaries for television are always really, really interesting, and I love how Criterion just tracks that stuff down and they lard it up with it. It's beautiful. So really, really good.
Wade, we got some good ones from Twilight Time. Twilight Time is getting, they're getting very lucky because some of these films you've got to be
I'm just amazed.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I mean, Crimes and Misdemeanors. Are you kidding me?
I know.
So basically,
I know. It
studio, and this is also marketed under the MGM 90th anniversary banner. It's got a little sticker on it, but yet...
And you have to go to screenarchives.com to buy these. I mean, you literally have to go to screenarchives.com to get all this stuff.
Now,
it's not easily available.
You're giving me this, of course.
No, hell no. You kidding me?
Fine.
I'm going to watch that for the rest of my life, just like Glenn Whipp is going to watch...
Eat my ice cream.
Okay.
Anyway, Crimes and Misdemeanors, one of Woody Allen's very, very best films. This was the... I don't know that it was a smooth melding of the comedy and the drama, but because it was just so over the top with the horse talking, whatever. But still, it's just the comedy is so brilliant, and the moral issues are so stark and fascinating, and Woody's great in it. And I think this movie is one of his very, very best, a total masterpiece. Crimes and Misdemeanors. Obviously, there's no extras, just like any other Woody Allen film. But I usually don't advocate necessarily going to websites to buy DVDs unless it's like something really obscure or some foreign thing can't get
Yeah.
anywhere else. But this is really worth it. You've got to go get Crimes and Misdemeanors.
It's
is
fantastic.
fantastic. Also from Twilight Time is Martin Ritt's just wonderful. The Front. This was Woody Allen's first dramatic role, I believe. He plays the guy's like a cashier, he's like a bookie, and during the McCarthy era, he becomes a front for a blacklisted TV writer played by Michael Murphy. And it has one of the great
It is a
endings
really good
where
film.
he tells the House Un-American Activities Committee to just F themselves,
Yep.
and it was just hilarious. And back in 1976, saying
what makes it so interesting is it's a very unusual film for Woody, and it's an unusual film for Martin Ritt. And it takes them both out of their comfort zone, and it just becomes, it's really one of those unusual kind of Hollywood oddities that gets a little bit lost. And everyone who's seen it really loves it, but not enough people have seen it. So there it is. It's on Blu-ray. Go check it out.
Also, check out Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. This is
I love Thunderbolt and Lightfoot.
This is the directing debut of Michael Cimino, who would go on to do Deer Hunter, and I had heard stories about how
love
basically,
this movie.
well, basically Cimino, who was a first timer, it was really Eastwood who was kind of really guiding Cimino to get through this thing.
Yeah.
But still, it's a pretty kind of forgotten film in Clint Eastwood's career. He, of course, plays he plays a thief, and he hooks up with this kind of crazy young drifter dude played by Jeff Bridges, and he was not up for an Oscar for it. And George Kennedy's in it, and it's great. It's great. I think it's a really fun film. Again, Cimino wouldn't go on to make a film like this ever again. He would get pretty self-serious by the time he's doing Heaven's Gate and whatever. But still, it's a good film. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot from Twilight Time. Also, we have the Blue Max. Now
that's when war films were fun. From the Dirty Dozen era and the Great Escape and all that stuff. The Blue Max is just great score, by the way. Blue Max is such an awesome score. It's Jerry Goldsmith, right?
It is. I can't even read the back.
It's Jerry Goldsmith.
I don't even know.
Jerry Goldsmith.
Okay, good.
Jerry Goldsmith.
Anyway, it's about
Great score.
It takes place during World War One.
Yeah.
And it's a fun film. George Papard from the A-Team, looking so young and handsome then as a German
From
soldier.
the A-Team? You mean George Papard from My Breakfast at Tiffany's?
No, fine.
Come on.
This one I was not familiar with, the Eddie Duchin story.
Yeah, the Eddie Duchin story is not a terribly great movie, but it's got a weird kind of following if you are an Eddie Duchin fan. And if anybody's out there going, who the hell was Eddie Duchin, you're not going to like it.
Now,
it's just.
But the thing is that in watching the movie, you realize that Eddie Duchin is kind of an interesting guy. Tyrone Power plays him.
Yeah.
He was a pianist who became like a big band leader back in the 30s.
Yeah.
Between the wars.
But he was not a great band. I mean, he didn't like his reputation did not endure, let's say.
No, but for all these Twilight Time films, I'm telling you, man, Crimes and Misdemeanors, no-brainer. It is
total no-brainer.
I don't know where they got the print from that they struck the Blu-ray from. Is it the best print out there? Certainly not, but who cares? It is Crimes and Misdemeanors. Get it.
And one other interesting new release from 20th Century Fox is the 300 Spartans. Now, this is, of course, the same story as 300. This is the original film that tried to tackle the story of, the 300 Spartan warriors and the Battle of Thermopylae, yada, yada, yada. Richard Egan plays Leonidas here, and, it's obviously much less all tricked out and Zack Snydery. But the only thing that I find interesting about this is that it's got a sort of vintage Hollywood sheen to it. It's got that 1950s, 1960s Ben-Hur-ish kind of deal going on. Not as good, obviously, but they're clearly making the effort. And then, by just coincidence, obviously, there's actually now from History Channel and Lionsgate this release here, a 3-disc collection, Last Stand of the 300 and Other Famous Greek Battles, which is 6 specials that aired on the History Channel that center around various Greek historical battles, including the Battle of Thermopylae. And I'm thinking, so the 300 Spartans and this set, they come out the same week. That is so interesting to me. Mark, why would that be?
I don't know, because they're cool.
Because the sequel to 300 is coming to theaters.
302?
Yeah, it's What is it? 300.
Like Rise of
an Empire. Is that the
Crab,
subtitle on the
Stupid
thing?
Crab. Rise of Stupid Crab.
Gosh, it looks dreadful, doesn't it?
It does. I didn't like 300. I just don't get it.
We saw 300 together in that god awful IMAX infliction that just made our optic nerves start to bleed. That was horrible.
I want to see Nonstop. I have not. I got the screening. I got the screening invite to Nonstop.
Nonstop. Really?
That's the Liam Neeson
Yeah.
super. You didn't get it?
I did get it. I just forgot that I'd gotten it.
I want to see it.
I gotta tell you, Dirty Words, man. It is the best. It is so good. It is like it puts the mean back in meaningful. It really does. Anyway, speaking of History Channel trying to piggyback on everybody else, we also have a History Channel release, The Vikings Dark Warriors, because of course History Channel has that show Vikings, and so they're just trying to sell anything that they have that has anything to do with Vikings. Pretty clever. And then they also have released Noah and the Great Ark, 3 films telling the incredible story of the biblical hero. So, being very aware of the fact that the big feature film Noah, starring Russell Crowe and directed by Darren Aronofsky, is shortly due to come out, and so they figured, well, it's Noah's going to be all the rage again. So let's let's piggyback on that as well. And really, there's nothing particularly spectacular here. It's pretty routine History Channel stuff. But if you're kind of getting into the mood for the movie, I guess it'll prime you. I guess it'll do kind of a thing.
It'll do kind of a thing.
Yeah, it'll do kind of a thing. All right, Mark.
Wait, is it Vox Box?
It's time for that.
I haven't sang the song for so long.
We haven't done this in so long. Let it rip, Mark.
It's Vox Box.
Hi, Mark and Wade, it's Chevelle Dixon. And while you guys were talking about Clifton Collins Jr. and how his career hasn't gone anywhere, it got me thinking of somebody else whose career hasn't really done much, and that's Eric Roberts. What the hell happened to his career? He got Oscar nomination for Runaway Train, it was in Dark Knight, and then nothing really. So what do you think happened to his career? Why hasn't he really made it big? Keep it a good work, and thank you.
Well, thanks, Chevelle, as always. That's a really good question, because Eric Roberts had that moment with Runaway Train where it was like, wow, and it wasn't just Runaway Train; it was also the
Star Wars.
No,
you realize that he was in the Batman film with the Joker.
Eric Roberts. Oh, he was. That's right. But there was also The Pope of Greenwich Village.
Pope
of Greenwich Village is a great movie, an amazing movie with Mickey Rourke. I remember, and he is so good in that. I remember Pope of Greenwich Village. It's like, wow, Eric Roberts, dude, you are on fire. And then suddenly his little sister came out and made some crappy movies, and then she's a huge star, and he went nowhere. And it was very weird. And now his daughter is like, she's making real movies, and he's still doing like AFM crap.
I hit the mic.
Yes, I know. That hasn't happened in a while. You've been coordinated. Good job. Well done.
Thank you.
Been doing calisthenics?
I do what I can.
Good. Anyway, you know what? Here's my theory on Eric Roberts. Reason number 1, substance abuse. Because Eric Roberts has obviously had his problems with whatever it is, whatever toxic substances he might like to ingest. And that, doesn't just make you not necessarily very functional unless you're Philip Seymour Hoffman, in which case you somehow find the way. But it also makes people oftentimes less inclined to want to work with you. And I think that is part of it. Eric Roberts is not the easiest person to work with. And but other than that, I really don't know. He would certainly seem to be primed for a career renaissance, wouldn't you think?
Maybe in B movies. He has a certain look that, what are you going to... He has a rather hard...
Star 80 was another one of those films. I mean, he had that moment, man.
But now he's in his 50s, whatever he's in, now he looks like a B-movie villain.
Yeah, but somebody like Tarantino would put him in a...
I can see that,
sure. Tarantino does that for people.
He will resurrect
yeah.
his career in some fashion,
yeah.
where he'll become cool again for like Robert Forster with Jackie Brown.
Yeah,
why not?
Why not?
But I think ultimately you're right. Substance abuse, hard to work with, not aging well.
Yeah,
not bankable. Doesn't really have the look of anybody but a villain.
And I think the other elephant in the room that we should talk about is that it is very, very difficult now for those career renaissances to happen, because just in the last 7, 8, 9 years, the business has changed radically. The distribution landscape has changed. Not as many people are going to movies. More people stay home. Streaming has emerged. And A-list actors show up all the time in straight-to-DVD movies. It used to be there were actors who made movies for theaters and actors who made movies that went straight to DVD. And now you're getting like Lasse Hallström and Richard Gere and Penelope Cruz and name actors who have stuff that even Robert De Niro, it goes straight to DVD, straight to Blu-ray, and you're what?
I sent that email today to you guys.
Oh yeah,
It was
De
The
Niro
Bag Man, starring Robert De Niro.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's just, and you realize it's just hard for everybody to make a living these days. So everybody is really out there, and it's in an environment like that, for someone like Eric Roberts, where much bigger stars, name stars, are slumming it in straight to video and streaming stuff just to pay the bills and make their boat payments. For him to somehow get a major movie, that's an even bigger hill to climb. It's much, much more difficult. So it's a harder environment to make those kinds of comebacks and to pivot and make those career reinventions. That just doesn't happen anymore as it used to. So he's I don't know. It could still happen, but he's kind of in a rut, and I'm not sure what it'll take to pull him out of it. But we like him. We like Eric.
Yeah, why not?
We like him. He's a good guy. Good guy.
He smacks of the 80s.
Foreign language films, Mark. Let's get through some of these.
Wait, The Grandmaster. Can I say something, Grandmaster?
Say it. Do it.
Didn't like it.
Why?
It's so overshot. Really, I know it's like got the cinematography. Everyone's like drooling over.
Yeah.
It's just one of those movies where like they're fighting in water and their arms slice through the rain. And just stop it already. I get it. Their arms slice through the rain. I get it. Wong Kar-wai, thank you for trying to resurrect yourself. I guess just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I love the film, but I'm a Wong Kar-wai fan, and I've seen both versions. The longer version, the original Hong Kong version, is a better film. It is a much better film. It is also a more opaque film. It's not as easy to sort. It doesn't give you the historical. It doesn't kind of put it on a cookie for you the way this one does. The Weinsteins made him make this very historically digestible. In the year so forth, he blah blah blah. Yip Man did this, and then Yip Man did this, and it's very pedestrian that way. There's a lot of stuff in here that's not in the other version, but it doesn't change it. I gotta say though, any movie with Zhang Ziyi being as good as she is in this, she's just luminous. The woman doesn't age. She's a bit of a bitch. I've been on the set with her before, but it doesn't matter. She's luminous, and she's a wonderful actress, and she looks great.
I agree.
And Tony Leung, fantastic. I mean, it's different from all the other Ip Man movies. The others are much more populist. There's 4 other Ip Man movies from 2 different directors.
See, I like those films.
They're fun.
Yeah, because they're fun. This one is not fun. It's trying to be just
people are punching in slow motion in rain.
Stop that.
And stomping.
Hey, that's not new to me.
It's cool. It's just cool. It's
By
one
the
of
way,
it's one of the most beautifully photographed films I've ever seen in my life.
No, it's not.
It is.
I'm tired of it. It's overshot, overlit, overcolorized, over and brown wood. Everything. It's just everybody's peering through things and just stop it. It's just so overdone.
Good looking Blu-ray though.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, but it's like, come on, shooting through slats in the wall, that kind of thing. Stop that.
That's Wong Kar-wai. Cut him a break. King of the Facade, Masquerade, a wonderful Korean film that's been out on DVD for quite some time from CJ Media, who brings a lot of the Korean films over. This is a great Choson Dynasty movie that just really did very well in Korea and did okay business here. About a guy basically who has to masquerade as the king. The king's gotten sick, and this guy has to do kind of the Dickensian thing and step into the king's shoes and pretend to be the king because he looks like the king. And it's actually really fun, and it's on Blu-ray now, and it's a great-looking Blu-ray, and it's a very opulent period film, really good Bluray.
This film I love.
This film is great.
Yes, it is.
Unleashed, dude. Talk about the beauty of it.
Wajah.
It's great, and apparently they hate this in Saudi Arabia, which is understandable because
that is true.
It's
because it makes the education of
right.
young girls seem like it's a good thing.
Yep.
Anyway, Wajah is this 10-year-old girl living in Saudi Arabia, and the actress who plays Wajah is just great. She's just a bright light in the universe. I just love looking at her. Oh, she was just terrific, and all she wants in the world is a new bicycle. Her mother won't give it to her, so she decides to enter a contest at school to win the money for the bicycle, and this thing is just wonderful because this girl is so great.
Yep.
This girl, you are just riveted to this girl. She's so sweet. You just want to root for her. And I cannot recommend Wajah. That's Wadjda from Sony Pictures Classics from Saudi Arabia. It's just really good. It's a winning film that manages to indict Saudi Arabian society. So it's not like an angry film or a bitter film or it's overly dramatic film, but yet it does manage to kind of, as we're saying, put it out there that in Saudi Arabia they don't like this film because it tells 10-year-old girls that education is a good thing. And for that, we love Waji even more.
Yep.
Also, we have from Criterion, the winner of the Palme d'Or this year, Blue is the Warmest Color, which is a 3-hour lesbian love affair that I know you can... I say that because you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, 3 hours of lesbian sex? It's going to be unbelievable. Well, that's not
awesome.
really what this is.
No.
You know what's great about the way this film is shot is that when the two lovers get together for the first time, not only are they like totally stark naked, right? Like big time, like X-rated stark naked. But the way it's shot, there's no fancy lighting.
No.
They're laying on a bed. That's it.
Although I have to say that extended montage of raw, sweaty lesbian sex in every conceivable position, that sequence, the only thing that it detracts from the movie is the fact that sequence is like 25 minutes long. It is
not 25 minutes long.
It's like at least 15 minutes long. It is long. That sequence just goes on forever. And I remember sitting there thinking, okay, really? I mean, Kashish, I love you. You are a great filmmaker. Secret of the Grain, all the way, dude.
Yeah,
you are just
Secret of the Grain.
You are an amazing filmmaker. You just nail it. You go to the wall. But really, do you really? I mean, I get it. There are a couple of women and they're going at it, and I've just been watching lesbian sex here for like the last 20 minutes, and I think I've seen enough. Frankly,
there's
no
downside.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, Adele Exarchopoulos, who had never done a film before, is unbelievable. Why is she not up for Best Actress?
I don't know. I don't think enough people saw the film. I think they just
so
they were like 3-hour French movie. Pass.
So, what's great about the movie is that it is
phenomenal. Well, we gave her our Best Actress award.
Yes, we
did. She tied, didn't she? Was it a tie?
Was she one of the ties? No, Leto and Franco was one tie.
The Picture was the other.
Picture was the other tie. Gravity and Her. And then it was Kate Blanchett and
yes, that's right. It was Kate Blanchett.
Exarchopoulos.
Gosh, she was good.
She's great.
She's so good.
And it's 3 hours. I'm not saying it's not a long sit. However, you do get lesbian sex, which is good. But it's also just a beautifully detailed look at it. It's a very slow moving arc, but it's a complete arc. It makes sense. And I thought it's great. It's one of the great modern love stories.
And worth pointing out, too, this is the Blu-ray edition. This is not a combination edition, but Criterion wanted to get this out fast in time for, Oscars and so forth and yada yada. And there is going to be a bigger, more elaborate, extras-laden version that is coming out eventually, late near the end of the year. But they wanted this out soon so that people could, watch it. So another version is coming. You can rent this or whatever. You may double dip just so that you know it's on the offing. Criterion was very open about that. A couple of really, really good titles from Cohen, who I do work for, in full disclosure, but these are both great films. You Will Be My Son. Did you watch You Would Be My Son?
I did not.
Gosh, it's really good.
Because it was sitting in your house, and you did not lend it to me, so I did not see it.
Niels Arestrup is...
he's cool from a prophet.
He's good, a prophet. He's just such a great old actor, and despite that really miscast thing that they did to him in the War Horse, the Spielberg film, where he was speaking English, it just didn't work at all. But this is basically a modern variation on the Prodigal Son, about a guy who runs a vineyard. His son's a loser, and then the son of the guy who runs his estate turns out to be actually more of a son, more filled with promise than his real son. Really interesting family drama set in a French vineyard. Very French, but just a really, really interesting, compelling drama. And then an amazing movie that got no proper theatrical distribution, and it's such a tragedy. The Artist and the Model. What a wonderful movie. This is from Spanish director Fernando Treba, who won the Oscar for Belle Epoque a million years ago. And Treba is a wonderful guy. If you've ever interviewed him, he loves Billy Wilder, he loves American movies, he's a real classicist, he's got a lazy eye that's a little bit, he's like Shaquille O'Neal, you're never quite sure where he's looking when he's looking at you. And but he's just such a good filmmaker. He has such a classic sensibility. Made another film, by the way, with Penelope Cruz called The Girl of Your Dreams. Also got no distribution, which is about a bunch of Spanish actors that Franco sends to do a movie in Berlin on the eve of World War II. And there's some Goebbels is chasing Penelope Cruz around. I mean, a great movie.
George Goebbels is chasing Penelope Cruz.
Perfectly balances the wartime sensibilities with this kind of light comedy, and you think, how are you going to pull that off? And he does. He nails it. Great film, never got distribution. Anyway, The Artist and the Model is also a World War II era film set in occupied France about a sculptor who finds his muse, and it's all shot in black and white, and it's wonderful, and it reminds me a lot of La Belle Noiseuse, which is another amazing 3-hour film that Jacques Rivette made with Philippe Noiret, I think it was, wasn't it? Philippe Noiret in La Belle Noiseuse?
Absolutely.
Emmanuel Bayart was the model.
Right.
Anyway, was it Philippe Noiret? Can't remember. Anyway, Great movie. One of the greatest movies about art I've ever seen. Anyway, and this is similar, The Artist and the Model. It is just a wonderful, wonderful movie, beautifully photographed, incredible black and white. Claudia Cardinal, Jean Rochefort. You got to check it out from Cohen Media on Blu-ray. Fantastic Blu-ray, also along with You Will Be My Son on Blu-ray. Mark, we're getting close to me having to blow out of here. So let me just bring this pile of PBS titles in here. We fell behind last year a little bit, missing a bunch of shows at the end of the year on some PBS documentaries. So here, just to let you know, this is what we've got on the PBS front. At the Edge of Space, this is an episode of Nova. That is all about this weird kind of freaky part of space that is very theoretical and nobody quite knows what's going on. And it's very interesting, but it's very Nova-y. Meet the Coy Wolf. This is a nature thing about these creatures that are part coyote and part wolf. And I got to tell you, I've been watching this coyote near where we live, which is like this mangy old thing that's about to die. Very sad. Very sad. I'm not a fan of coyotes, not really a fan of wolves, so didn't vibe to it. Another great Nova, Asteroid, Doomsday or Payday. That big asteroid came very close to Earth, like 18 million miles away.
I know.
Close call.
That's 18 million is a close call.
Whatever.
In cosmic terms.
Yeah, whatever. This is basically about the asteroid that blew up over Siberia and, kind of freaked people out a little bit. And, whatever. It's Siberia. I don't really care. It's Putin's problem, not mine. April Bloomfield, Mind of a Chef, Season 2. More food stuff with this British chef lady who, doesn't make food that I particularly want to eat. But, if you like the series, rock on. And then there is the American Experience documentary 1964, which is revisits a year when I was not alive. I'm so glad I can say that. Makes me feel young again.
Very few years now can you say that about.
I know. It's true. But anyway, this is basically the standard American Experience look back in time and at a very pivotal year in terms of all kinds of domestic and foreign affairs. Very nicely done, very summational. Lincoln at Gettysburg is an interesting look at the one thing that we don't know about Gettysburg, which is that the telegraph played a huge part in that whole particular incident. So it was, this is kind of saying this is when the information revolution really began. Fascinating point of view. Not sure I agree, but it is what it is. The state of Arizona. This is actually all about the immigration struggle in Arizona. But what's interesting is that if you get this is part of I forget what company made this. It's a Sundance Institute thing. Independent Lens, that's what it is. Independent Lens did this for PBS. Arizona just passed that law, which a lot of people they're saying it's like the anti-gay law that lets you use religious beliefs to
which it is.
Which, well, I read the text of the law. There's a lot. It's very strange. I mean, there's a lot of screaming on both sides. It's actually a pre-existing law that they tweaked, and there are a lot of like cross-outs and then word changes, and it's really kind of cryptic.
Why don't they just pass a law saying that businesses can refuse service to anyone? Why is it gay specifically?
That's apparently what it says. But because of the groups that sponsored it, they're saying they're doing this specifically to target gay groups. Again, I'd have to talk to a lawyer. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna get caught in the war of words. But it's a very weird thing that they did. That they went to a pre-existing law and crossed out certain words and added new words and kind of tweaked the law in some very strange ways. And I'm not a lawyer. I can't make heads or tails of it. But it is a very strange thing. I've never heard of anyone doing that before. You write a new law or you throw away an old law. But you don't go to a pre-existing law and start going, oh, I see, there's a typo there. We got to edit this and this. It's a very strange thing. But anyway, Arizona, bottom line is Arizona it's like...
That's a screwed up state.
That is it's a messed up state.
I don't know what's going on there.
It's just, if it's not one thing, it's another. Spies of Mississippi. Goes back again to the year 1964, and this, speaking of, this is about the campaign to stop Freedom Summer's civil rights movement in 1964. This is a really, really good doc from the Tribeca Film Institute. Definitely worth checking out. Cold Case, JFK is a Nova installment, which comes a little bit too late for all the It tries to take a forensic approach to it that doesn't quite work, but it's all right. Chasing Shackleton is about a bunch of guys who are trying to retrace the route that Shackleton did. Not that interesting. The Amish Shunned is an American Experience documentary about a bunch of people who got basically booted from the Amish community or decided to leave. And it's about how, kind of their fish out of water experience, realizing that being out of that very insular kind of hermetic community isn't all it's cracked up to be. Great frontline documentary, A Death in St. Augustine, which is really very, very disturbing look at domestic violence. And then lastly, Hawking and the Prisoner's Handbook, Killer Chemistry. Hawking is all about, obviously, Stephen Hawking, and I've seen documentaries about Stephen Hawking before. Obviously, the what's his name? Errol Morris, the Errol Morris A Brief History of Time doc.
Correct.
Very much kind of blends his biography with his theories and does a really good job of it. There's nothing here that I found particularly new. I thought Errol Morris did a much more poetic job of going into these particular details. But that said, Hawking's life is extraordinary, and he's one of the most enigmatic individuals who's ever lived. And then The Poisoner's Handbook is the Killer Chemistry is kind of a fascinating look back. This is courtesy of WGBH in Chicago. This is an interesting look back at the about almost 100 years ago, when everything changed with respect to forensic investigation and how they decided, how you sort of approach crimes from a forensic chemical standpoint, from a chemistry standpoint. Actually very, very interesting, a little bit nerdy, but it fills in some fascinating blanks about how modern detective work, at least in that forensic and chemical and scientific area, became what it is today. So a lot of great stuff from PBS. Definitely worth checking out if you are a documentary fan. Mark, lastly, before we cut out on the show early, there is a documentary here that I wanted us to talk about because it gets released at a very unfortunate time. We've been talking lately about all the deaths in the last 3 months. I mean, just non-stop deaths, expected and unexpected. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Peter O'Toole,
Harold Ramis,
Joan Fontaine, Harold Ramis, on and on and on and on. One of them is Bob Accel, however you pronounce the name. Otherwise, I always knew him growing up as Bob 2 in DEVO.
Aww.
And he recently passed, and that's like my childhood evaporating before my eyes to see a member of DEVO go. There were two brother teams in DEVO, of course. There were the Mothersbaugh brothers, and then the Casal brothers, Bob and Gerald. Mark and Bob Mothersbaugh. Bob Mothersbaugh got to be Bob number one.
Mark Mothersbaugh became a rather noted
still a great composer
of TV shows.
Well, this is 20 of their music videos in DEVO, The Complete Truth about De-Evolution, and tons of performance footage and extras and of course, videos. And the music videos, DEVO was such a, this arrives at just such a sad time. DEVO was such a groundbreaking group in terms of the music videos. I mean, they were...
yeah, I mean, they were the ones who, look, they were a freaky new wave group.
Yep.
Kind of like Oingo Boingo.
Yeah.
And they were avant-garde. They were out there. They wore the funny hats that looked like round Legos.
Yeah.
And their videos were never very expensive or never very elaborate, but they were always striking.
Always striking. And their videos they had motifs in them that would carry from one to the other, and it wasn't just, the flower pot hats and the yellow outfits and things. I mean, there were certain other weird motifs like Bougie Boy, just bizarre things that just sort of created this universe that DEVO occupied, and it made the videos kind of the equivalent of a viral hit at the time. And included here is just great stuff. The DEVO corporate anthem, Secret Agent Man Giacomo, their version of Satisfaction, which is so unbelievably funny, I can't stand it. Whip It, Girl You Want, Freedom of Choice, Love Without Anger, Beautiful World, Time Out for Fun, Peekaboo.
We could read every one.
No, I'm just going through the major ones. The Dr. Detroit theme song and Postmodern Man. Big Mess is the only one that's not here that I just adore. So really, and it's really interesting. There's a commentary here with Mark Mothersbaugh and Gerald Casal. and a film called Mongoloid, and an interview with director Chuck Statler. And it's just, if you're a DEVO fan, this nails it. It's got everything. It's got everything you could possibly want. So, in honor of Bob 2, I would say definitely check that out. So with that, Mark, we're about wrapping up. We'll be back next week with more frolic and fun. We're still looking for a good outro, aren't we?
Yeah, but we also haven't recorded the new intros.
I know we haven't. We're still in a little catch-up mode. End of last year threw us a bit for a loop, but we will get there. So meanwhile, send your Vox boxes, send your emails, send anything that you want to gods@digigods.com. We try to answer as many of the emails, if not all the emails, as we can, and we are looking for listener mail and Vox boxes. So go ahead and send everything to gods@digigods.com. And until next time, the balcony is being the balcony is being fumigated.